And welcome to this video where I'm going to talk to you about everything that you're going to find in your grade 1 acoustic guitar exam. So this video is for people who are doing the rock school, the RSL grade. So if you've got a book like this one with Bob Marley on the front, then this is the right video for you. If you've got one of these other books that are also grade 1, they are different. The grade 1 exam has lots of different sections. We've got timestamps on the bottom of the video, so you can skip between them if there's a particular section you want to look at. The first one we're going to start with is technical exercises, because this is likely the first thing that will happen to you in your grade exam. In your book, if you turn to page 36, you will see everything here. First thing we've got are scales to be played with a click with a metronome at 70 beats per minute. So make sure you're practicing with a metronome. Go on Google, type in the word metronome and set it to 70 beats per minute. First scale, C major, 3, 4. A natural minor. E minor pentatonic, 3, 4. A minor pentatonic, G major pentatonic, 3, 4. Now you will not be asked all 5 of those scales. They're just going to pick some, and they'll pick some at random, so you don't know what order they're going to be in, so just be prepared for that. Next up is the power chords. This is on page 37 of your book. Now, you can use your book for this section. For all of the scales and chords, you're allowed to have your book open if you need to, but I really do recommend that you practice them so that you're really comfortable with it. Again, we need the metronome for the power chord exercise. 2, 3, 4. So next up, the examiner will ask you to play a selection from these chords here. So there's 8 possible chords, but they won't ask you all 8. They're just going to pick some at random. Let's go through them. You just need to do a single strum on each when they ask you to play one. I'll say the name of a chord. You see if you can play it. I'll give you a couple of seconds and then I'll play it and see if you've got it correct. I'm going to jumble them up in a random order. Firstly, play me a G. Here it is. Now play me A minor. That's this one. Next, D. There it is. And A, which is different to A minor. That's A. E minor, on with the 2 fingers, and E, and D minor. Need to fret 1 here for D minor. And finally, C. Final item on technical exercises is what's called the acoustic riff. So a riff is a repetitive phrase, but this riff moves around different strings on the guitar. So if you look at the bottom of page 37, you'll see the acoustic riff. The main riff is written out in bar 1. Then the next 3 bars, notice they've only got 1 note in. That's the starting note for the riff. So the riff has to move around up to the G string, but the same riff, and then back again. Let's try it with the backing track. This is the track that you have to play along with in the exam, so it's a good idea to practice playing along with it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Here it is again without me playing. Here's the backing track. You see if you can keep up with it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You have to perform 3 pieces from your book, and you have to perform them with the backing tracks. Okay, this is where you get the majority of the marks in your test. There's 20 points for each piece, so 60 in total out of your 100 marks is for playing these pieces. Like I say, you have to play them on the day with the backing tracks, so it's really important that you practice them with the backing tracks. I've got some links down below to some existing YouTube videos which have the backing tracks on. What you'll find on these videos is you'll hear the song 2 or 3 times. The first time will be the one which has the guitar on. Okay, so that's a good one to try first, and then once you're confident with that, then you can play along with the second one on the video, which is normally backing track, or it might be called without guitar version. Okay, backing track with click is the best one because the click will help you stay in time. As well as them being available on YouTube, you can also download the tracks. If you go to your book and look in the very front inside cover, there's a website there, rslawards.com/downloads, and then every book has got a unique code in. You just type that code into the website, and that allows you to download all of the backing tracks onto your phone or your iPad or your laptop to help you practice. We should have been through all 3 of your songs in the lessons. So you should know what you're doing. You can use your book in the exam. You don't need to memorise them. Some people find they play better if they do memorise them, but you don't need to. You can have your book on a music stand on the day. But please practice by preparing them along with the backing tracks. Good luck. In your grade 1 exam, you have a decision to make. You can choose whether to do sight reading or improvisation. And I'm going to tell you a bit about those things now. Whichever one you choose, it's worth 10 of your 100 marks. And sight reading is a good choice if you are confident at reading rhythms, about understanding the difference in note values between the crotchets, which is 1 beat, the minims, which is 2 beats, the semibreve, which is 4 beats. If you're happy with the timing, then you probably should choose this one. Let's do an example now. Bear in mind, this is not the one you're going to get on the day. The point is, it's something you've never seen before in your life. They put it on your music stand. You've got 90 seconds to have a little practice, and then you need to play it in time. You'll either have a backing track or a metronome for this one. I'm going to do it with the metronome 70. This is example sight reading. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you were able to keep up with me and stay in time with that, that might be a good choice. If you found that quite hard, then you could choose the improvising, which is certainly a lot of fun. So improvising is where you make something up on the spot, and what you get given is you get given a chord chart like this one. There's 4 chords on there, and there will be a backing track happening. Now, you can choose whether you do something with strumming. You might want to make up some sort of strumming pattern to fit this. You might want to improvise a melody playing some notes over the top. So we're going to talk about both of those things now. Firstly, if you want to go with the chords, that's great, but you need to strum something that fits in time. This example here that we're going to do is rock, and the chords look C, G, A minor, C. The examiner will play the backing track for this, and it goes round twice. The first time is for you to practice, and the second time they give you a mark. So let's try something with the chords.
1, 2, 3, 4. One, two,
And again for real.
4.
You might decide that instead of doing the chords, you want to do a melody. This can be a lot of fun, but you need to know what key you're in. Now, at this level, all you need to do is look at the first chord, which will either be C or A minor. In this case, it's C, so we need to find the appropriate scale. Well, we know a C major scale, don't we? So that's one we're going to do, and we're going to use that scale for the whole thing and just improvise a little tune, just make something up. Again, you get a chance to practice and then the real thing. So let's try that. I'm just going to make up a tune, but I'm using the notes of the C major scale.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So. You have a try this time.
3, 4.
That's improvising. There's an ear test which is worth 10 marks out of your 100 in two parts. Firstly, you have to identify whether notes are higher or lower than the previous notes. So the example in the book is not the one you're going to get on the day. It's just an example. But the notes that you hear okay, so you just need to say that the notes went up and then down again. You need to describe the direction of the notes. Okay, I'll give you two notes to start with, see how you get on here. So without looking, here's two notes. Is the second one higher or lower? And the answer is lower. Let's try three notes now. What's happening here? And again. Well, they're going higher and then higher again. Or you might get something a bit like the one in the book where... Here it is again. So the notes went lower and then higher again. The second part of the listening test is you have to copy back a rhythm that you hear just on the low E string. And there'll be a drum backing in the exam for this. So it'll count you in like 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you hear it again. 2, 3, 4. Then you get a short break for you to practice. And then it's your turn to play. 1, 2, 3, 4. End of ear test. Final thing in your grade 1 exam, they ask you a few questions. It's worth 5 points. Firstly, everyone should get marks on this. Names of the open strings. Eddie 8 Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie. Parts of the guitar. We've got fretboard. Here we've got neck, body, tuning pegs, that's pretty obvious. The nut, well, this is the nut here. And at the other end we have the bridge. and finally the sound hole. So that's pretty easy marks if you can remember about the nut and the bridge. Favourite question that they love asking people in these exams is, what's the difference between a major and a minor chord? And all you need to say in grade 1 is that a major chord sounds happy and the minor one sounds sad. Don't need to go into any great detail at grade 1. They might ask you to point in your book to a treble clef, and they might ask you to point to the time signature. And then also they sometimes ask you about note values. You don't necessarily need to know the words semi-breve, but you do need to know that it lasts for 4 beats. We've got minim, which is 2 beats, crotchet, which is 1 beat, and quaver. Each quaver is half a beat, so you can fit 2 quavers into the space of 1 beat. Good luck with your grade 1 exam.